Hello, my name is Denise Duffield with the National Back from the Brink campaign. Congressman Garamendi, thank you so much for taking the time to join us to share some of your views and insights about nuclear arms control and disarmament challenges and opportunities as we head into 2025. First question we have is, do you see opportunities to build broad, perhaps even bipartisan support within Congress to encourage President Trump to try and reach agreement with the Russians to preserve New START treaty warhead limits before the treaty expires in 2026?
Well, it's going to be very, very difficult. We really do not know what the Trump administration is going to do, how they're going to approach this, and we do know that the Congress and probably the Senate are very, very much going to be following Trump's lead. However, there's a lot of history here that may give us some clues. Most of the arms control treaties that have been put in place over the last 50 years occurred at the height of great tension between the United States and Russia. Now we can add China to that list. However, will that be repeated in this period? I would hope so. I think there's an opportunity here. We do know that the arms race is extraordinarily expensive and extraordinarily dangerous. And now it's three countries, China, Russia, and the United States, all engaged in a very, very serious arms race. So let's take a look at the New START treaty. Let's push hard. Our working group, that we've put together here with more than 90 members of Congress and the Senate participating in our nuclear arms working group. We're out there. We'll see what we can do.
Okay, thank you. And how concerned are you that President Trump and congressional Republicans might propose the resumption of underground nuclear explosive testing at the Nevada test site?
Well, we hear rumbles of that from some of the Republicans that are true believers in there's never enough nuclear weapons. Also, there is some concern among some members of Congress and some scientists that we no longer are able to understand the ways in which our nuclear bombs work, specifically the plutonium pits. And so they say, well, we're going to have to test. I'm going, no, we actually spent billions of dollars creating a mechanism to understand the way in which these nuclear weapons actually work without having to explode them. So we don't need to do testing underground or certainly not in the air, and because we can understand the mechanisms. We're also initiating a new study of the nuclear pits as to whether the plutonium has aged. There's significant evidence that the plutonium does not age rapidly and that the existing pits are probably good for a century.
And would resumption of nuclear explosive testing, would that hurt our national security?
The resumption of testing of our nuclear weapons underground is just not necessary. And it would set off a cascading effect with Russia and China resuming their own nuclear testing underground, hopefully. So why go there? Not necessary. We should do everything we can to maintain the current moratorium. It's a slippery slope. There are eager scientists out there that have not, in their career, been involved in nuclear explosive testing, and they're anxious to strut their stuff. And I'm going, no, you don't want to do that. We don't want to do it. We don't need to do it. We do know that we have confidence in our weapons. And so, no testing. In the new Congress, we're going to expand the membership of the Nuclear Arms Control and Nuclear Weapons Working Group so that we have more leverage on the issues that will come before Congress. Right now, we have about 90 members. We're going to add co-chairs from both houses, from both parties. And we're looking forward to having a very strong voice in the next NDAA, as well as in the energy legislation. Right now, we're headed off to spend $250 billion on replacing the Minuteman III missiles that are located in mid-America. That is a huge amount of money that could be used in many other places for our national security. Some of that are at least 2 nuclear bombs that the NSSA wants to build. Why they want to do that? Well, they want to put on the new Sentinel rocket. Well, we don't need to do that. We have sufficient bombs that we could reposition. And frankly, we don't need the Sentinel rocket at all. The Minuteman III can be refurbished for at least, and be useful for at least the next 15 to 20 years. So why spend $250 billion on an unnecessary and an extremely dangerous leg of the triad? The ground-based weapons that we presently have in the silos are use it or lose it. And the president will have less than 15 minutes to make a decision to launch those rockets and the nuclear warheads if there is a perceived threat. And so it's use it or lose it. No time to settle down, understand what it is. And we've had multiple false alarms over the last 30, 40 years. So we're looking very hard at that particular leg of the triad. And basically, we don't need it as a deterrent. It's extremely dangerous. And we have plenty of deterrents in our airframes, the new B-21 and other bombers, as well as some of the fighter jets that are presently located in Europe. And of course, we have the Columbia nuclear boomers coming online in the years ahead, and they are out there in the ocean today in their older format.
Yes, you mentioned the Nuclear Weapons and Arms Control Working Group, and we're very grateful for your leadership as co-chair of that working group. Could you please share with us your goals for the working in this group, and importantly, how outside groups and concerned activists like Back from the Brink can support the working group and cultivate more congressional leadership on the issue?
Our working group is to deal with the nuclear weapons issues. We have spent most of our time thus far looking at arms control agreements, trying to push and to support the administration, current administration, in its efforts to open discussions with Russia and China on arms control agreements. There are some opportunities that do exist, and we want to see those opportunities pursued. I would say that there's been some progress with China. The door has been opened at the military level, as well as at the diplomatic level, to at least discuss military issues, Taiwan being the focus at the moment. But with the door open, other discussions can take place. With Russia, we still have about 1.5 years to renew the New START treaty. We'll see how the Ukraine war works out. Trump says he's going to end it in a few days. Well, on what terms? A big question there. But should that war be settled in the next year or so, then that does open the door to the resumption of the New START treaty. And our goal is to push and to support all of these efforts.
Thank you very much. Back from the Brink has hundreds of organizations and thousands of activists who are eager to get busy, roll up our sleeves in 2025 and do all that we can to support these efforts and growing congressional leadership on this critical issue. We really appreciate you taking the time with us today.
Well, I want to thank you and your organization for this opportunity to discuss these issues. And also, I know that you work with many other organizations that are similarly concerned. We really need to rally that public NGO organizations around this set of issues. We are, as I said early on, a very dangerous moment. The nuclear saber rattling that Putin has engaged in, the inability presently to discuss anything with China, it's dangerous. It's time for us to work together.